Hi, and welcome to your social studies lesson for today. We have been talking about women and women history and women who have made a difference. Today, we are going to be learning about a woman who impacted the world for Jesus Christ. There is a series that we're going to be reading to you that talks about gutsy girls. And I'm going to be reading you these books because they talk about strong Christian women who have impacted history and who have impacted the world for Jesus Christ. And so book one that I'm going to read to you today is about Gladys Alyward. And as I'm reading, I want you to be thinking about, what did she do that was brave? What did she do to impact the world for Jesus Christ? It's important to know before we get started, what does the word gutsy mean? So I'm going to go through that definition with you real shortly. Gutsy is an adjective. Gutsy means to be brave, courageous, and daring. It's showing the determination even when your heart beats fast and you're nervous and you have a lot of fear, but you do it anyway. It's being brave. So we are going to read this story together, called Gladys Alyward. Now, Gladys Alyward was not extraordinary. In fact, she was just plain ordinary. While the average woman today stands 5 foot tall, Gladys barely reached 5 feet. That's shorter than me. While others knew much about well-known books and faraway cultures, Gladys failed out of her missionary school. She didn't pass. While some women's jobs included filing and teaching and treating patients, her only skills were those that she learned working as a parlor maid and a housekeeper, sweeping, dusting, and clearing tea. When people looked at Gladys Alyward, they didn't see anybody special. Instead, they saw average, plain, and ordinary. But ordinary Gladys, she had an extraordinary idea. She dreamed of telling the people of China, about Jesus. China's too far away. You can't speak Chinese, people would tell her. How weak and foolish you are. Gladys ignored all of these words. After 2 years of saving, Gladys bought a ticket for the Trans-Siberian Railroad. She traveled to China alone, and she knew it was very dangerous. And to make matters worse, there was a war over there going on. You won't make it to China alive, people told her. This is ridiculous. That's not what girls should do, she was told. But Gladys felt that the Lord was putting this on her heart, and she went anyway. Gladys gathered 2 suitcases, one for food and one for clothing. Gladys collected 2 pounds and 9 pence that equaled less than $10. She had her ticket, her passport, a fountain pen, and most importantly, she had her Bible with her. Then Gladys tied a tea kettle and a pan to the handles of 2 suitcases, and off she went on her journey. Now, for the first part of her trip to China, Gladys hopped on a train. Then she took a ship, followed by another train. Finally, Gladys boarded the Trans-Siberian Railroad. The Trans-Siberian Railroad chugged through Russia. One night, when the train could not go any further, Gladys slept on a snowy railroad track surrounded by wolves. I hope I don't freeze in the wilderness, she thought. Maybe this trip is too dangerous. I'm sick of eating meat cubes and eggs. But Gladys decided to push on. Now, Gladys continued her travels by boat, train, and bus. She crossed 3 mountain ranges, and for the last part of her journey, a mule carried her along steep mountain paths. When Gladys finally arrived in China, the people did not trust her. In fact, some even threw mud at her and called her bad names. "Why are you here?" they said. "What could you do to help us?" "You can keep your stories of Jesus to yourself," they told her. But Gladys continued on. Now in China, Gladys met another English woman there. Together, they opened the Inn of Eight Happinesses, where they served weary travelers. The woman fed their guests both food, but stories of Jesus too. At this time in China, orphan children were bought and sold as slaves. Gladys found out and began to rescue children by taking them into her inn or her hotel. And she adopted them, letting them fill the air with happy sounds of play. One evening, Gladys looked around and she saw more children filling the beds of her hotel that travelers had and realized that it had really become an orphanage. Gladys also found out other ways to serve the people in China. She helped calm a riot in a local prison. "Stop it. Tell me why you're fighting and tell me why you're doing this," Gladys demanded. Gladys became a foot inspector and taught people why they shouldn't bind the feet of children. "Unwrap the feet of those girls. How can this poor child walk with her feet bound up like this?" Years passed, and slowly the people of China started to accept Gladys. Maybe she does really care about us. Maybe there's something to this God of hers, they thought. Maybe we should call her Virtuous One in Chinese. Now, when war broke out in China, Gladys worked as a spy. Tiny Gladys hid from Japanese soldiers among the wheat fields. She crawled through mud, dodged bullets. Gladys knew the people and the mountains really well, but no one suspected an ordinary woman like Gladys could be capable of such bravery. Gladys discovered secrets about the enemy. She would report back to the Chinese soldiers. And when the dangers of war threatened the children at her inn or her hotel, she gathered 100 children and she walked them over 100 miles through the mountains to safety. Along the way, they had little to nothing to eat. They had nowhere to sleep. They spent the night in caves and sometimes nothing except the dark black sky. Finally, after 27 days, Gladys and the children arrived at their destination. And Gladys collapsed. She was exhausted. She became very sick. "How did you get those children across the mountain?" people would ask. "What did you and the children eat during those 27 days? "How strong and brave you are," they told her. Gladys showed the world that you don't have to be tall, you don't have to be that smart, and you don't even have to be that educated to serve and to love others. Gladys showed us even ordinary people can be extraordinary for God, and that's pretty gutsy. Thank you for joining us today. I want you to think about, what did Gladys do to impact the world for Christ, and how does that affect you in your life? Thank you for watching.